as you've had about an hour to digest the victory?
You know, we first of all, I want to thank God for this victory. You know, making it out healthy, and shout out to Javier Fortuna as well, and my management team, Al Heyman, TBT, the Bunny team, and About Billions, and my big bro Adrian Bronner. You know, he was using tactics. You know, Javier Fortuna is he is a former two-time world champion. He got experience, but you know, a lot of the talking, the trash talking, and moving around was just, you know, to survive in a fight. You know, he knew he wasn't in shape, but he used tricky tactics to run and trap me in and hit me with dirty shots. But, you know, I kept going forward and I kept pushing. You know, it was an ugly fight, but we got the job done. That's all that matters.
And remaining undefeated. So the members of the media, if you guys have questions, by all means, Andrew from Swanson Communications has the microphone. Identify your media outlet, and then we'll proceed.
John Gatling, New York Fights. Robert, we talked the other day in the gym. You had a very aggressive game plan in mind. You spoke about the last time you fought, in which you made it a little harder in your estimation than it needed to be. Do you think you did a little bit of that tonight, giving up the distance there? I know he was tricky and everything else, but you knew he wasn't in shape. Did a little bit of that play into your mind psychologically?
Yeah, of course, because he wasn't really giving me anything. So I really had to press and walk forward and walk him down, you know what I'm saying, in order to get to him, because he was doing a lot of running and holding. So he made it a grueling match.
Any questions for Robert?
Hey, Robert, Keith Eidig from BoxingScene.com. Was he better than you thought he was going to be?
No, he wasn't actually. You know, I knew what he was gonna do the whole time. Like I said, once he felt my power, that's when he was gonna get the boxing and running like he did. No, like they fought different. They two different fighters. You know, Shavakov is a come forward fighter, and Fortuna, he's a more tricky fighter, laid back, trying to like I said, it made it a grueling match.
BoxingVoice.com. You had 3 difficult fights in a row. You started with Comey. It's not easy work. Shavakov, and now Fortuna, who not only is a southpaw 2-time champion,
Right.
also could be known as a dirty fighter.
Yeah.
And that's not easy to get the W's. Do you think you're going to be able to? People are going to recognize that you fought 3 tough challenges in a row? I mean,
Yeah, you know, my fans are they usually see me get knockouts. You know, they don't usually see me fight these hard, tough
Can
fights.
y'all
But
hear
you
it?
gotta look at these opponents that I'm fighting. You know, I'm not knocking no one else. You know who they fighting. You know, but I have got some tough opponents. These last opponents, and they like I said.
All right, so let me tell you what's going on.
Let me
tell you what's going on before we continue. I got in trouble for trying to stream the Joshua fight. Obviously, we knew we wasn't going to get paid for it. We wasn't trying to get paid. We was trying to do a film study. So in a way, I was trying to do like kind of like a test to see how far I could go, you know. But they was like, nah, you pushed the limits too far this time. So long story short, it's actually been beneficial because we've been pumping out 40+ videos a week now that I don't have to do the live streams, and also it's giving me some time to put my podcast together, you know. So I just focus on the 10 to 20-minute videos, and it gives me time to do so much other stuff behind the scenes, because doing streams is a lot of work, you know. You got to have everything together, all your information, you know, all the video content. But whatever the case may be, we're going to chill for an hour or so, and this video is going to be uploaded to the main channel, and therefore, you know, more people can be able to watch it, because see what happens is this channel right here has 0 marketing, 0 promotion, 0 tags, anything. So therefore, it's not going to pop up really in like the YouTube search is basically like if it was on my channel. So I think that Robert Easter won a very, very, very close fight. And I think that point deduction of Javier Fortuna, you know, was the deciding factor. As far as Errol Spence versus Lamont Peterson, we already knew what was going to happen, man, you know. Like when I interviewed him, I just was looking like, yeah. And I got a chance to interview him twice. It was some footage that got damaged that was in full high definition. You know, like the media workout stuff we got. Like the first time I ever held a microphone and everything. I got so many things I got to get used to because I can do interviews where I'm standing there holding a camera in front of somebody's face, but being there with the microphone and holding it, that's just not me, you know. But you know, if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. Nonetheless, I just was looking like, yo, man, like they saying you're gonna lose, you know, like, and they not saying you're gonna lose the people, because the people's voice are the most important. They were like, yo, you're gonna get knocked the fuck out, and I didn't say that to him, obviously, and we just knew. Okay, here was my logic. My logic was, Lamont Peterson is a 140-pound fighter that's fighting at 147, to where I feel Errol Spence, who started his career at 154, is a 154-pound fighter fighting at 147. So even though Lamont Peterson was doing some good work, if he would have done more than what he was doing, he would have opened himself up to more counters. But the work that he was doing, it looked good, even though it wasn't that much of it. It looked good, but he couldn't do anything to keep Errol Spence honest. He couldn't keep Spence honest. He couldn't do anything to intimidate him. And then eventually Errol Spence started walking him down and then toying when he meant in, you know? And yes, after watching it, in fact, you know, before we watch some more of this post-fight press conference, let's go watch it right now. Yes, damn, did I not pause it? Damn, I messed it up. I can't show the full fight, obviously. Hold up. Let me do this, man. Let me find this footage first. I had it paused and then I let it play through, and I forgot to, let me see. Where are we at? So, Lamont Peterson quit, you know, and you'll see what I mean, because I'm going to show it to you. You see what I mean? He quit. And people don't blame him, you know. He just couldn't do anything. And I like how Barry Hunter tried to make it seem like, well, you know, I stopped it, you know, because, I mean, he was going to stop it. He did say the rounds before that he was going to stop the fight. But we're going to see here that Lamont Peterson was basically like, well, you know, like consciously he quit. He's like, if you want to call it, you can call it. This is like putting it on, you know. No, see, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. See, don't twist my words. I'm trying my best to, you know, don't twist my words. I'm trying my best to explain it the best way I can. Don't twist my words. You know, his train, like, we're going to explain it. We're going to explain it. Okay. Here we are. I found it. Give me 1 minute. Turn that up.
What round is this? Hey, look at me. Yeah. I don't like what I see, you know.
You know me, what was going to happen, so you make the call, I'm good.
So, what was that exchange right there to you? I don't know. Let's rewind it back. Let me see. That's the 206.04. This replay is kind of jinky, you know, so it don't always, sometimes it go back too far. Let's see if we can go right there. I can't show this part, obviously. Well, this was the end. I think we can show a little bit of this. How many? 13 seconds? 13 seconds. Yeah, we can do 13 seconds.
Showing different wrinkles, like you mentioned, Paulie, with the footwork, the angle, and then the variety of punches targeting all facets of Lamont Peterson's anatomy.
But as fancy as he can get, he doesn't forget the basics. Still using the jab.
Now pay attention. Now listen to what they're saying. You should be able to hear it clearly.
What round is this? Hey, look at me. Yeah. I don't like what I see, you know.
You know me, what was going to happen, so you make the call, I'm good. You talk to me about it. You need to respect me. We're going to fight. Let's go.
Stay right by me. Look at me. call.
The fight has been stopped. Errol Spence Jr. records his 10th consecutive stoppage win, and he continues to impress.
So yes, you're going to say, it's a different, it's a different type of quit, but people are going to be sympathetic because people didn't expect for him to win the fight anyway. So they're not going to be like, man, he quit in his last fight compared to, Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux quit was worse because nobody has seen Guillermo Rigondeaux since, and that makes it even worse, So once again, for those who don't know what's going on, I'm going to put this video on. This video automatically records. So I'm going to immediately upload this video to the main channel. And the I'm waiting for the post-fight press conference now. Well, the post-fight stuff from Mo, who's there. I was supposed to be at the fight, but I didn't go. He's got my credential instead, because if I did go, then I wouldn't be able to do this with you. I'd be somewhere having some fucking crazy adventure in New York or something like that, and I just didn't feel like it. Ugh, excuse me. So we're gonna watch the Errol Spence post-fight interview. We're going to exercise our rights to fair use as far as we can possibly push the limits to without getting in trouble, and obviously make sure that our videos are marketable for the good of the sport, right? And then, since I'm so busy, we're putting out so many videos per week, running the website. Thank you to the sportsmen over in the UK for they've been really helping us out. Thanks to Fight City, Manny Montreal, Global Legacy Boxing. Just got some news from Gabriel Rivas from over at Golden Boy. He's supposed to be helping us out for next week for the Linares fight. Shout out to Rob, shout out to Kyle, OJ. Got a lot going on. So where do we start? Oh, we're waiting for the post-fight interviews. It's right here. I'm just waiting for it to get there so I don't have to, fast forward. So I'm just chewing fat in the meantime. So if you don't know, we are boxing media company. We're growing. We're getting to the point where we are covering fights internationally. And the goal is to make sure we give you the in-depth scoop on everything that goes on in boxing, all the bullshit, by also staying out of the bullshit. We hold no allegiances to nobody. If you notice, I don't take no pictures with no fighters. I have not one photo, no nothing. So I make sure that people understand I'm serious about this. And plus, I don't get starstruck or nothing like that. When I go to these events, I'm there to work. And when I'm covering these fights, this is work for me. So the amount of work I put in by researching all this, here's a little replay for you guys. You can go right here, watch this. I gotta watch, even though I watched them all a couple of weeks ago, I gotta watch the TYQ Ram fights, more of those. Then we got the World Boxing Super Series, Usyk versus Breedis. That's on Saturday. This is a big week of boxing coming up. This is a big week of boxing. Wait for the post-fight interview. Then we're going to move on to the post-fight press conference. So, if you want to see my short video on all this, then go over to the on my main YouTube channel, and it's a 20-minute video that I did. And it's crazy that the video actually turned out to be just 20 minutes. So I was talking about how right now you have the money king of the 147-pound division, excluding Pacquiao and Mayweather, is Keith Thurman with that WBC and WBA. He is also the most consistent ratings getter for PBC, even though Errol Spence, when he knocked out Leonard Bundu, holds the record for most ratings, coming off of when Team USA had won the Olympic gold. So Keith Thurman wants to have a tune-up fight, or a comeback fight to get the rust off, but he can't get the caliber of name that he wants. Instead, it's looking like it's going to be somebody around the level of Jesse Vargas, and they're saying the name is going to be, it's heavily rumored that it's going to be Jesse Vargas. His mandatory is Sean Porter. Sean Porter is having some hand issues that he's been doing a real good job keeping. Oh, wait, here we are. Let's just do this first. Turn this up.
This was some kind of a performance by him, even though you were thoroughly dominant.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Lamont Peterson, man. You know, a lot of guys did turn down the fight, and he took it like a real warrior, like a real fighter, and I commend him for that.
Where did you feel as though you took control of this fight? Did you feel that the distance was in your favor from the beginning?
Definitely. My coach came with a great game plan, and I just followed through with it. He told me to keep my distance, use my jab, and keep my range, and just keep my composure if he tried to bring it on.
In the 5th round, you were able to knock Lamont down. Yet he got up and he battled back. He stayed in this thing. Did you think it was going to be over after that knockdown?
No. I know Lamont. Lamont a tough fighter. You know, he's going to give it all he got. You know, he's willing to die in there. As you can see, his coach had to stop the fight because he wanted to keep going. You know, that's who Lamont is.
Now, you've now stopped your last 10 opponents, causing a stoppage in the fight. Where do you feel now you are with your game, and do you still see places where you can improve?
Definitely. I still can improve a lot of my defense and other ways in my craft. So you just got to keep protecting my skills, stay in the gym, and keep learning, and keep progressing. You're just going to see a better Errol Spence each time I get in the ring.
And we always want to look forward. And Keith Thurman will get back in the ring. I'm sure he'll have some type of a tune-up fight coming off the elbow surgery. Danny Garcia is going to fight coming up on Showtime. Perhaps Horn. What would you like to do with your next fight?
Everybody know I'm waiting on sometimes Thurman. You know, I've been waiting for a long time. Since I was 15 and 0, I've been calling this guy out, and he keep making excuse after excuses. He need to hurry up and come back, you know, fight a little tune-up fight, and then let's fight. I'm waiting on him. Let's get it on, man.
Errol, congratulations. Terrific performance.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Lamont, you've got some kind of heart and tremendous courage. Of course, we've known that about you your entire life. What happened here this evening, your assessment?
He was getting the shots off early. You know, it pretty much established everything with the jab. I pretty much knew he was, you know, that was going to be the case, but I was looking to get inside and start working. But, you know, he was the better man tonight.
This man right here has had your best interest. He saved your life once, and perhaps maybe he saved your life or at least considerable damage here this evening. You wanted to go out and fight. Now that you've had a little time to reflect here, do you feel you did the right thing, Barry?
I'm going to always respect, you know, his decision, and that's what I told him, you know. Regardless, if he asks me to go out here and fight 1 million people, I'm going to fight him. If he say that's it, then that's it.
Barry, was it hard to pull the plug knowing that he wants to continue, but yet you have his best interest at heart?
It was really hard because if you know Lamont, you know his heart, you know his courage, and soldiers usually down the battlefield sometime, and I knew he would have fought to the end, so I had to step up because at the end of the day, this is my son, and I don't care nothing about boxing more than I care about him.
Well, you saved his life, as I said, many, many years ago, and tonight you protected him very, very well. Let me ask you about Errol Spence. Was this perhaps the best fighter that you fought?
Yeah, he stayed composed. He was able to get his shots off at any time, and so far, yeah, as far as class, he is a step ahead of the rest.
Would you like to fight again, or have you had enough?
That's something you have to think about, that I would have to think about. I can't just make that decision right now, but that's something definitely I have to think about in the next few weeks.
You've given us a lot of thrills. Tremendous respect and admiration for both of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See,
Mauro, back to you.
Here's the thing. I feel Lamont Peterson can beat Adrian Broner. I feel Lamont Peterson can beat some of the smaller 147-pounders. It's just that Errol Spence was, not only was he too good, but he was too strong. Lamont Peterson can bully some of the smaller guys, you know? So he's not done. I just hope that he doesn't go on these long, you know, layoffs. You know, these guys got to stay active, especially these, you know, like these older fighters as they're getting older now. And from my understanding, Lamont Peterson had a shot, you know, at, well, he was in talks to have Miguel Cotto. They said that was nearly done. Well, Barry Hunter said, his words said it was done and fell apart. You know, Keith Thurman You know, Danny Garcia didn't want the rematch. So now, you know, he took this loss where everybody thought he was going to lose and everybody said he was going to lose. And, you know, that's got to hurt your confidence. But like I said, he was doing good work. It's just that he couldn't hurt Spence and he couldn't gain his respect by doing something to keep Errol Spence off of it. So Errol Spence got his own host of problems because when you look at the 147-pound division, you see Keith Thurman at the top with them 2 titles. Because he has 2 titles, he's on the top. He's the WBC and the WBA. You got Jeff Horn, who's taking on Terrence Crawford. Even Errol Spence from Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman saying, hey, listen, Terrence Crawford hasn't done anything at 147 yet. You know, why y'all keep bringing his name up? He's got to beat Jeff Horn first, and then we can start talking about him, you know? Keith Thurman is likely going to have 2 fights in 20. Knowing him, he'll have 2 fights this year if he doesn't get hurt, you know? And those 2 fights will likely be Jesse Vargas, and then Sean Porter has said that he's not fighting no more until he gets Sean Porter. But there's that Danny Garcia option out there. Something is going on where if the winner of Danny Garcia versus Brandon Rios is the second mandatory. So Keith Thurman will have 2 mandatories because of his inactivity. His first mandatory has to be Sean Porter, and then the second one has to be the winner of Danny Garcia versus Rios. But something has been going on there where Sean Porter kind of alluded to that. Danny Garcia can likely leapfrog. You know, Danny Garcia can leapfrog Sean Porter and get the rematch before Sean Porter do. And I feel from what I feel is Sean Porter is doing this thing where he says, I'm not fighting until we get Keith Thurman because he doesn't like it. You know, so he'd rather be inactive, you know, to hold on to his mandatory spot. And Stephen A. Smith definitely called him Joe Horn. And when they look at Crawford is considered somewhat of the boogeyman because these guys, not only do they kind of, you know, show that they respect him by never talking anything bad about him or that, you know, he's not that good or whatever the case may be. They're consistent in saying the same thing. And of course it's the promotional thing there too that they know of. You know, Terrence Crawford is ESPN, they're Showtime. So of course they know it's the political divide too. But a lot of people feel Terrence Crawford can beat all of those guys at 147 except Errol Spence. A lot of people are starting to really feel that Keith Thurman may be the big money fight, you know, of 147 pounds, you know, Spence versus Thurman, but that Spence versus Crawford is that Canelo versus Lara, you know, type of fight. You know, that's that sweet science super fights. You know, that Lomachenko versus Rigondeaux. You know, the fights that Ward versus Kovalev. You know, the fights that fans are like, wow, we're really getting this. This is boxing porn. You know, Usyk versus Briedis was like that, and Usyk versus Marco Huck. What? Oh, I'm not reading none of these stupid ass comments. And plus, there's not that many people here anyway. But we're going to be live for another half an hour or so. Then, as I said, I'm going to upload this video, you know, to the other channel so more people can watch it. So it's going to be real interesting to see what Errol Spence wants to do, because the fact that he's fighting in January gives him plenty time to fight 3 times this year. He could fight in January. He said at the post-fight press conference that he would like to fight in April or May, and then he'll be able to get another fight in, you know, after, you know, August, September, October, November, or even December. But with Keith Thurman's plans, listen to this. Listen to this.
Looking forward to testing every chin that steps in the ring.
So you already announced that your next fight is going to be somewhere in late February or so March. You already said that it's going to be somebody ranked in the top 15 of either the WBA or the WBC. Not necessarily a known name, but the biggest question I have for you is, because of your inactivity, do you see or does it interest you for 2018 to be a 3-fight year for you?
It would interest me to be a 3-fight year. I'm still in my prime, man, and it doesn't feel good to be on the bench. I would love to maximize revenue next year, stay busy, and just get it in, man, for myself, for the fans, and you know, and create some more hype in building up a mega fight in the future.
Thank you, sir.
Are you optimistic that 2018
Or wait, there was something else that was looking for.
Let me just give him a place to what's going to happen. What's going to happen?
I mean, whatever, man. It's a comeback fight for him after a loss, you know, into the fight. But it's going to be, you're looking at some two good fighters.
So what are your thoughts on the growing rumors, nearly almost confirmed rumors that your former opponent, Danny Garcia, is going to be taking on Brandon Rios?
I mean, whatever, man. It's a comeback fight for him after a loss. You know, I always feel like you should never be too hard about who fights whom after one has lost. Okay, you know. It was quite impressive for Kell Brook to fight Triple G and then to fight Errol Spence, but a lot of people don't do that. Okay, so he'll be back in the ring. He's trying to have a good performance. I hope the performance goes as well as him and his team want. And then you can start demanding that he get back in the mix. And technically, because I know where people are, what you know, people and reporters are probably thinking, but you know, he can go up against some higher quality opponents after he handles his business with Brandon Rios.
So do you agree or someone condone that he did the right thing turning down Sean Porter?
Yeah. You know, I fought Danny Garcia, I fought Sean Porter, then I fought Danny.
Do you hear his logic? You hear his logic?
He did the right thing turning down Sean Porter?
Yeah. You know, I fought Danny Garcia, I fought Sean Porter, then I fought Danny Garcia. Doesn't mean that Danny needs to do the same. So it's just, and it's his team, you know, they're not comfortable with that right away. They didn't want to fight me right away. They took a warm-up fight, so I feel like they like to do that, you know. Every fighter, they operate and manage their careers slightly different, and it's not the worst move. It's still, I think, a good matchup for the fans, the fight style-wise. I definitely do see Danny as the favorite, but after that, we can start, you know, you can start putting some pressure on him and say, we want to see you up against somebody else, or this guy, that guy. You can start saying whatever names, but, you know, we'll see who he wants to fight in the welterweight division. And I still believe, I was happy that I got to fight Danny so early, because I believe that the welterweight division is a dangerous division for Danny Garcia.
Okay, this is my final question. Let's talk about your injury. Now, the injury you had with your elbow.
Okay, so once again, let me explain to you what's going on with Keith Thurman. He wants to have a comeback fight. His comeback fight will likely be in April. The name that's circulating around is Jesse Vargas. Anything lower than that, fans are going to be really, really pissed, but it's not going to be a big name. He confirmed that, right? His mandatory is Sean Porter. Sean Porter said he will not fight until he gets Keith Thurman. He doesn't want to mess up his shot. Danny Garcia, if he beats Brandon Rios or vice versa, will be the next mandatory. However, people are feeling, and somebody said it right here. Yeah, McDub said, I don't think he wants to fight Porter either. He may feel that he'll be able to beat Danny Garcia, but not beat Porter in a rematch. Danny Garcia will probably generate a little more money than Sean Porter. But people would love to see Keith Thurman versus Sean Porter. Both of them were free TV CBS fights. Both of them were highly viewed fights. And both of them hold high attendance records for the Barclays Center. You know, Keith Thurman is the money man, you know, in the division right now. So in order for the Errol Spence fight would happen, he would have to, in order for the Errol Spence fight to happen, he would have to say, okay, Sean Porter, I choose not to fight you, and Danny Garcia, I'm not fighting you. I'm going to fight Errol Spence and likely get a little less money, you know, high risk, low reward. So, you know, it's a fight that where Keith Thurman is doing what guys like Robert Guerrero and Floyd Mayweather told him, even though he never got the Floyd Mayweather fight. It's like you got to build, you know, your name up. You know, so people can want to fight. And Keith Thurman's like, yo, you got to go through the motions. Just the fight's, you know, it's not ready now. You know, the fight's not ready now is what he's saying. You know, he's about to talk about his injury here. And what I'm doing is I'm letting you know that, and this was back in October. And, you know, I forgot I had this footage where he's literally saying, you know, the reason why he hasn't been fighting. And basically, when you listen to what Errol Spence has said, it's been saying, it's like, well, wait a minute. Keith Thurman's been injured all this time. And yet you're saying he don't want to fight you. That you know he's got a mandatory and all that. So I understand what Errol Spence is doing. This is what he's supposed to do. You know, he wants Keith Thurman. This is what he's supposed to do. You know? Damn, those are files coming in. So we can't be on here that long. I got to upload this content.
Does that stem back from when you had that car accident?
No.
Was it something that was...
This is him talking about his injury and his rehab and why he hasn't been fighting and when he plans on getting back into the ring.
No. It was a brand new thing. I never felt that pain in my elbow ever throughout any of my boxing matches or through any other training camp. But I did start to feel it in the training camp for Danny Garcia. I got an MRI, and the results showed that I had loose bodies floating around down in the joint region, which is hindering my elbow from locking out and doing its job, which is promoting a whole lot of inflammation. So I was fighting inflammation, which people know is a fancy word for somewhat pain, you know. So I was fighting mild pain and inflammation in the elbow. I was icing it every day after practice, and I took some notes from my doctors. I stopped sparring a little short in that camp. And just waited it out, did a lot of shadow boxing, did a lot of strength and conditioning, and I said, look, the doctor said I'll be okay for the fight, so I'm gonna get strong, get ready, but I'm gonna cut my sparring short, and I'm just gonna use this right elbow on the night that matters the most, which is the night of the fight. Afterwards, I rested. I spent 1 month in Japan, upon which I proposed to my wife. I came back. Came to the Sean Porter fight in April. I think my surgery was done like 2 days before that fight, and here in New York. So like I said, I'm back here in New York. I touched down. I seen my doctors. I'm getting therapy. We're feeling good. It feels like it's about to bounce back. We do need a minimum of 4 to 6, no longer than 8 weeks of rehab. I think.
Okay, so. He's saying that he got back into New York on like October the 3rd. This interview was on October the 4th, right? He said he needed about 6 to 8 weeks of rehab. So we're going to assume 8. That's 2 months, right? That's November the 4th, you know, from October to November, November to December. We're in January right now, right? Right?
6 is a good number. Roughly for a minute. I touched down. I seen my doctors. I'm getting therapy. We're feeling good. It feels like it's about to bounce back. We do need a minimum of 4 to 6, no longer than 8 weeks of rehab. I think 4 to 6 is a good number because we really are bouncing back. It's feeling better than it ever did. Prior to last month, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, the elbow really is progressing. So that's what we want to see with rehab. That's what you want to see as an athlete. So I look forward to being back in the ring next year.
My last question: one of your former competitors.
Let's go over and watch some pieces of the post-fight press conference before I upload it.
And since this is the night of the
I'm going to be up all night uploading
pounders,
videos. That's why the stream is not going to be all long. I'm going to be uploading it on the main channel, and basically until I get my podcast together, we're going to be doing streams only like when truly important.
He's like, he does everything the right way, which unfortunately in today's world don't play Instagram so well, you know.
Like we can't really listen to DeBella right now. Let's listen to Barry Hunter. We can't really listen to DeBella right now. I'm sorry, Lou. We'll upload you later.
It would have been what we saw tonight. But I think that early in the fight he landed some good shots.
His headphones on.
And they made the pace. The great Barry Hunter.
Wow. Of course, it was hard for me to make the decision that I made. But like I said in the ring, and I mean that from my heart, I would rather give my life up before I let my child die in that ring. And if you know Lamont, you know he's going to march head first in the war. I thought we took too much damage too early in the fight, and we got too far behind. And just by looking at him, and he said something to me that really, really stuck in my mind. He said, well, you make the call. He said, other than that, I'm too far behind. He said, I'm going to go for broke. And so when he said that, and I knew that he had too many holes in his defense, and Earl was too fresh, too strong. It seemed like he may have been getting stronger down the stretch. So that's why I made the decision I made. Again, I don't know how many more we got, but I do know this. I have never, ever met a man like him, like his brother. I love him. I'm proud of him. If he never fight another day in his life, it's all right by me. I want to thank y'all for having me. Thank you, Lou. I appreciate the love, brother.
That's one of the best trainers in the game, but that's also one of the best people in the game. And what he did tonight was what a trainer is supposed to do. You know, he went in there and he stepped in at the right moment. And by the way,
let's go to Errol Spence.
Maybe announced this week. Guy, all PE.
I'm gonna upload all of this later on, like the actual press conference, and cut like the important parts out for you. I'm sorry I'm like racing through this right now, but we're kind of short on time because I have so many videos I gotta upload, and I get to see my daughter tomorrow or today. Wait, where you are?
I think he possibly is. I mean, I don't really know. Let me see. I don't, I'm doing the Charlo invitation, but I don't really know if he is or not. I mean, I just think that he looked good. He fought a very tough guy, and I think if Lamont Peterson was given the opportunity to do more, he would have done more. So I think Errol was able to be, defensive minded. He gave it a couple of shots, but that's boxing. That's what, that's what happens in boxing. And he was able to keep coming and keep the pressure and keep doing what he needed to do to be successful. Hey man, I don't really know. I mean, we spar with heavyweights, so I mean, maybe the heavyweight in the gym, can do the work, but it's not a fight. But I don't know. No, I mean, he kind of did exactly what we expected. Every now and then I say he's going to shoot the sneaky right hand, and he did that also. And so that's why I came in the corner and said, listen, every now and then he's trying to catch you with a counter punch.
It's a nice suit.
A right counter or a left counter. And I watched it when he fought, it was the last fight, whoever the guy was. And that's what he was kind of doing, sneaking a little straight right.
They were Evanescence.
Right or the left hook, so it was okay. I mean, we were prepared for that.
What round did you say this is the beginning of the end?
Well, when he knocked him down, I think that because initially when you see when he opens him up and he dropped him, that was kind of the point where it went like overkill. I mean, why you let him keep punching a guy like that? I mean, what's the point of that? I mean, I don't understand that myself.
What, if anything, do you think Earl could do better?
I can't tell you because we're going to work on it. You know what I mean?
Once again, I'm going to upload all of this after this video.
Yeah, I mean,
we gotta go to him.
You could box. Today's Boxing Nation.
Fighters on the planet.
I mean, I don't understand that myself. Whatever it is, but hey, you just got to keep the focus like he was doing and keep doing what he was doing, man. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the welterweight champion of the world and one of the best fighters on the planet. No, you can take this.
You got a Corona. Who drinks? Yeah, I feel good.
I do.
I'm not gonna say I'm the pound for pound best fighter in the world right now, but I'm definitely headed that way.
Please raise your hand for a mic.
Dante's Boxing Nation. Errol, congratulations. Did you mess up by looking too impressive to where some of your other competition may say, you know what, let me wait until he looks a little bit more flawed before I get in with him?
No. I mean, you can't never look too impressive. You know, every fight I want to look impressive. Every fight I want to put on one-sided performances, and that's, you know, that's what I always say. So you can't never look too impressive in a fight.
Errol over here.
Errol, right here. Right here.
Oh,
Coach Anthony here with Behind the Gloves, man. Congratulations on a great win. Tonight you showed that you could box. You showed that you could use angles, that you can use lateral movement, that you can actually box from the outside. We saw Peterson try to walk you down, which I don't think was the smartest decision. Obviously showed that. So do you think that also show people who think that you're just a come-forward fighter, who think that you just put pressure, that you can actually box, utilize movement, angles, and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, guys who grew up with me in the amateurs know I can box. You know, I started out boxing. You know, I didn't win national tournaments and win tournaments overseas and, you know, become an Olympian because I was just a come-forward fighter. You know, I can do it both. I can box and I can come forward. But, you know, I never really showed that game because, you know, I always knew I can just press guys out and just beat them up. So, you know, my coach told me to show different things and vary my style up and my punches up and just step over. So I listened to him this fight and just stepping over, using my angles and things like that.
Over here, Errol. Over here, Errol, on the side. Congratulations to you. Can you, like, two questions for you. The first one, can you just discuss your, you relied a lot on tremendous body punching tonight. That seemed to really, really wear him down. Is that part of Derek's plan all along, go at the body?
That's every fight. That's every fight. You know, that's just repetition. That's what we practice in the gym. That's what we've been doing since the amateurs. You know, we've been going to the body, you know, body first and then go upstairs. You know, because the body is a bigger target than the head. So we like going to the body first, breaking the guy down, then bringing it back upstairs.
The other question is, you made your point in the ring afterwards. You said, as you said before the fight, that the fighter you want is Keith Thurman. But we all know that that won't be next because he's coming off the injury. He's going to fight somebody else in April. He said himself, sitting right in that spot where you guys did a press conference a couple months ago, that he didn't think the fight would happen even perhaps until 2019. You're not going to sit around and wait for him, as you've said. Who out there can you fight that's not Keith Thurman that can interest the fans or interest you in your next fight?
I mean, anybody. I mean, you know, I'm not going to sit around and wait for him like I've been saying. The whole goal is this year is to stay active and fight quality opponents. So right now I'm just thinking of a homecoming. I'm thinking about going home and fighting in Dallas, my next fight. So hopefully we can make that happen.
I want to answer that also. Is that we are giving Keith Thurman an allowance that we did not give Kell Brook, because the world expected Kell Brook to fight Errol Spence next, right? Yeah, but he's giving him a pass now. He's come. Well, everybody's giving him a pass because he came off of a surgery. Both same situation. So he shouldn't be allowed to wait for 2 years or whatever it is he wants to do. He should be able to get in there and take a fight.
Errol, over here. Congratulations on an impressive performance. This was your first fight since May. That was your first fight since August before. Do you want to be more active, and how many times do you want to fight this year?
This year I want to fight 3 times. You know, I didn't take too much punishment. You know, got hit a couple times, so you know, I'm looking to come back in either May or June and hopefully have a homecoming in Dallas. But at least 3 times a year, I would like to fight.
Errol, you had, right here, Lim, Saturday, you had mentioned that you thought that Danny Garcia lost or had a draw with Lamont Peterson. What kind of statement is this with him fighting next month? And, you know, for fans to make that direct comparison, what you did against Lamont and what he did against Lamont.
It's a big statement. You know, like I always say, you know, when I fight guys and, you know, they fought, you know, another elite fighter, you know, I always want to showcase and do better than them. You know, show with the Chris Algieri fight. He fought Pacquiao. Show with the Bundu fight. When he fought Keith Thurman with 12 rounds. You know, it's been showing, you know, Kell Brook and the other fighters. So, you know, I wanted to show that, you know, it wasn't an easy fight. You know, it was a lot of thought going into that fight, and a lot, especially in the inside and in the ring, because Lamont a crafty fighter. And if you back up from him, if he senses any type of weakness, Lamont's going to come forward. So, I mean, my coach came up with a great game plan, and, you know, made it look kind of easy.
So you go into the ring with a conscious decision
making that direct comparison and finishing stronger than somebody else?
Not going in the ring, but doing training. We make a conscious. I think about that.
I'm waiting for him though.
Wasn't able to hurt him.
He's been out for a while. He just.
Era now where talking trash, Twitter feuds, Instagram posts, that's how you become a big star. Whether it's Conor, whether it's Floyd, whether it's Adrian, that's not you. You're not a guy who likes to talk trash. How do you build your brand? How do you become a guy who can, captivate people who are non-boxing fans, casual fans, when you don't want to go on Twitter, you don't want to go on Facebook, and I'm guessing you don't want to be one of those guys who acts like an idiot.
I mean, Sugar Ray Leonard didn't talk trash either. I mean, Sugar Ray Leonard crossed over and became that guy because his performance in the ring, his smile, he was a people's person and things like that. So.
Before you walked in here, his name came up.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And things like that.
All
So.
you gotta do is keep beating people's asses like he's
Yeah.
doing every fight out there. You don't have to play the fool. Just do what you're supposed to do. And if you're exciting enough in the ring and you're destroying top level of competition, you're gonna be a star. 5 million people saw him fight on network television. 12,000 people. He don't live here in Brooklyn. It'd be nice if he did, but he man lives in Texas. He came in and there were 12,000 people here tonight. I mean, it's happening.
I mean, I feel like this. Yeah, it's true that, in this day and age, you get further if you use social media as, as the great tool that it is. And if you are a shit talker, a trash talker, you get far here in the United States. But every fighter is not going to have that. You can't ask him to be something that he's not. So he's trying to do it off his natural talent and ability. Remember, Golovkin has built a huge fan base in New York and able to sell out arenas even though he's not from over here. Look at Terrence Crawford, able to do what he does, especially in Omaha. But when he does venture out, he always does great numbers, and he don't talk that much. So it is very possible. But Errol Spence needs, he wants to be undisputed because, somebody pointed out that maybe he wants to move on to 154 because his body is, he's having, his body's not taken to 147 so well. That's just a theory somebody has, but in reality, as we talked about earlier, these guys won't fight him anytime soon. So what are they going to do for him in 2018? I see his next fight being like the homecoming fight, and they can bill it as that and sell it as that, it can be at what? Against like Luis Collazo is a name I was talking about. Because remember, he's going to have a mandatory coming up. He's the IBF champion, and the IBF doesn't mess around. And a guy like Errol Spence won't drop his belt, and he won't drop his belt. But the IBF will strip you. So, it is true that he may not get a Thurman if Thurman keeps winning, or Danny Garcia or Sean Porter and those guys to at least 2019. So even though he wants to have 3 fights this year, yeah, Al Hamilton getting fights. For example, his next fight, well, now this is a voluntary, and then he can get another voluntary-ish or so in, and then he's got to fight a mandatory or fight for a unification. So it's he is in a tough spot. He is in a tough spot. But what I got to do is I got to get out of here, and I got to go upload all of this nice-ass content from Adrian Broner and everything. Y'all want to see some of it? I'm going to show y'all. Before we go, I'm going to show you some of the content I have that I'm going to upload like right now. It's all raw files. Where is it at? Where is it at? Hold on. Give me 1 minute. I think you're going to like this stuff. I haven't seen it yet. It's been coming in, so I gotta get it working. Let's see what we got here. And yeah, I'm tired. Where's it at? What screen is it on?
Lele, where you going? You finna leave?
What's up with you, Twin? I see you talk to your employee the other day, and you let him talk to your employee the other day. Twin, I see you talk to.
You finna leave?
What is this?
Lele, where you going? You finna leave?
What's up with you, Twin? I see you talked to your employee the other day.
Twin.
I know you're staying with Coach Mike. Does that mean you leaving Coach Kev's house? Down Camp Cunningham?
Oh, that's just that guy.
Man, my kids look good, man.
I'm excited.
We ain't gotta talk about my wife. She's beautiful.
I wouldn't say that.
And they fly.
You disrespectful to you.
Huh?
And they fly.
I almost caught a case.
Did they respond to you in H&M when you went up there? Anybody, any of them employees, did they respond to you?
They responded.
Yeah. What they say?
Huh?
What they say? I like that move, man.
You know, I just.
They sold it.
What were you telling Robert Easter? You were yelling at him. He was responding to you when he was on that side of the ring. What were you telling him? 'Cause at one point, he put his fist up at you.
I want to go kiss on my wife, man. I just want to go kiss on my wife, man. Come on, y'all. Y'all might have another brother and sister. I don't know.
I gotta upload this stuff. This is what I'm gonna do. What is this? Let's see. Do we have wait for some more of this to come in?
Fight is over. How do you celebrate right now? I don't know. I'm not really a partier. AB already know. I know he's gonna drag me out, but I'm ready to go back to my room and chill. You know what I'm saying? Talking to the ladies. You know what I'm saying? We be chilling.
Were you hungry for a quick turnaround? Like maybe you wanted to fight next 3-4 months?
I didn't take it. It was a difficult fight.
Yeah. All right. So this is what I'm gonna do, guys. Thanks for chilling. I got some work to do. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe on the other channel, or you can just subscribe. I don't care what you do. You know, just subscribe to somewhere. You'll be seeing more videos from me.